Greetings, everybody, and welcome to MLSnet.com's Extra Time. I'm your host, Greg Lalas, alongside Shep messing as always. And this week, we're looking at the MLS playoff races. They're getting tighter and tighter every single week. You have 4 teams that are already in. You have 6 teams fighting for those last 4 spots. They're down to the last 4 games of the season. This is going to be one of the best ones we've ever seen.
Yeah, Greg, this is great stuff because you think about these teams that started training way back in January, February of this year. Now it's come down to the next couple of weeks. Somebody's going to get in, but somebody's going to get left out.
Yeah, I mean, these are regular season games, and they're all going to be like playoff games. Now, there are 4 teams that are already in. You have Chivas in Houston out west, New England and DC in the east. And then there are 2 teams that have pretty much done all the work they really need to do to get in Dallas and New York. I mean, is there any chance they're not going to make it?
Greg, there's always a chance, but you talk about those 2 teams. New York is really playing well. Juan Pablo Angel, Claudio Reyna playing the best he's played all year, and Josie Altidore is back, so I think they're in. As for Dallas, a little bit different. They're in a great spot. I think they'll get in, but I don't think they're playing well.
Well, they haven't looked very convincing in the last couple of weeks, that's for sure. And I think the biggest problem for me is they're not integrating Danielson in. Or the other way, Danielson's not integrating himself into that team.
Yeah, just because you have a star player, I mean, Blanco's come to Chicago, really assimilated himself into the team. Danielson, no denying his skill on the ball, but I don't see the chemistry being there.
Well, that's a good example. Blanco integrating so well, Danielson not. And I think it has messed with the midfield chemistry, especially for Dallas. Dallas still a good team, but I just don't see them going very far in the playoffs. The 7th seed in the playoff picture right now are the Kansas City Wizards, but there are some questions for them. There's a question of consistency. I know you have some questions about consistency for them, Shep. What's going on with Kansas City? Are they definitely going to make it in?
Greg, I'm trying to get behind Kansas City because I like Kurt Onalfo. I like the job he's done with that team. Having said that, I think they are too inconsistent. I think Kevin Hartman's solid in goal. At times during the season, they've struggled at the back. Eddie Johnson been great, but at times not enough other players engaged in the attacking third. So they have some points they have to get, and I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, is there any place in particular that you think they need to improve on their game in order to ensure this? I mean, obviously, when you're getting in the playoff races, it gets into questions of making sure the defense is sound and things. But what does Kansas City really need to do?
Well, I think Kansas City is at their best when they're getting at the other team, when they're engaging 5 players in the attacking part of the field, when they're pressing the issue. When they try and sit back and play too lackadaisically, I think they get hurt.
Yeah, it starts to fall down for Kansas City all over the place on the field when that happens. Now, a team that isn't falling down and has found some consistency finally are the Chicago Fire, who are right now in the 8th position in the playoff picture. Now, I'm a big fan of the Fire, and I actually think that they've done a great job of incorporating some new players with Blanco in there, Paulo Wanchope, Chris Rolfe coming back from injury, and obviously the new coach, Juan Carlos Osorio, has done something to get them motivated.
I love Juan Carlos Osorio, and I'm going to stop right there because I think Wanchope is overrated, overpaid, overaged, and I don't know how long he's going to do it for. I'm not a fan of Blanco. Blanco has been tremendous. I'll be the first one to say that. But I don't think he's going to keep it up. Every place this guy has gone, he's self-destructed. He's doing well right now. I'm not a big believer yet in Chicago.
So you think Chicago's not going to make the playoffs?
I think they can easily falter, and I do think either Columbus or Colorado can catch them.
Wow. See, I totally disagree. For me, I think Blanco actually has been the man, and he's going to continue to be the man. Chicago does have a tough schedule coming in after this. New England, LA, and DC, and Chivas are the last 4 games. However, I think that in the back, they've included Wilman Conde, and he, arguably, is the best addition for that team so far.
Yeah, I agree with you totally because I was worried about their back line. Conde is a great addition. Back to your man Blanco, I say go out and kick him. A guy runs by him, they're going to get a yellow card. The refs have been protecting Blanco.
Okay, fine, but Blanco is also one of those fiery players. Do you really want to face Blanco in the playoffs?
No, but I again don't like his temperament. I like his skill and his talent. I'm not a believer in his temperament.
Well, I think that temperament is exactly what they need, especially in the playoffs. I think Chicago gets in. I think Kansas City might have some struggles getting into the playoffs, but they're both in for now. We'll see if they can maintain that position. The bottom 3 teams in MLS are pretty much already out of the playoff hunt. Toronto, Los Angeles, and Real Salt Lake, gone. But there are 2 teams in 9th and 10th position that still have a very good chance of making it in, Columbus and Colorado. Columbus is sitting right beneath Chicago for that 8th spot. However, they've only got 2 wins since the All-Star break, and both of those coming against Toronto, including this past weekend, a 2-1 win. Is Columbus going to make it in?
I'm a big fan of Columbus. I think Siggy Schmidt did a great job, Greg, resurrecting this team, tinkering with it. Obviously, they need a healthy Scalotto. He's been great. I think it's too little, too late this season. They have a tough schedule. They'd almost have to run the table. I don't think it can happen.
No, probably not. And also, though, it's a young team, so you have to think they're going to take some positives out of this and move forward toward the next year.
Well, Siggy Schmidt is going to have them competing each of the last 4 games. Mathematically, it's possible. I just don't think it's probable.
Well, it is probable still probably for Colorado, though. They have a little bit of an easier schedule, and it's a team that has shown midway through the season that they can score goals and they can play some great defense. They had that wonderful 3-0 win against New England about a month ago. So, I mean, this is a team that could do some damage.
I've been on the Colorado bandwagon all year, and really they had a great month of August, didn't lose a game. It's kind of fell apart now. I mean, they couldn't score a goal, and they lost to Real Salt Lake. That's pathetic. But I like their schedule going forward. They have Real Salt Lake at home. They have Toronto at home. If Chicago or Kansas City falter a little bit and Colorado does the job, I think they get in.
Well, maybe. We'll see. I mean, a key for them is going to be whether Connor Casey is going to be healthy. If he can get healthy and be that threat up top, they have a very good chance.
Yeah, I agree. He's a big, strong target player, alleviates pressure. They need him to do that.
Well, Colorado has a decent chance. I don't think they're going to make it. I think Chicago and Kansas City are still going to be in there, but we'll see what happens. So if you have any questions or comments, thoughts or opinions, email us at extratime@mlsnet.com, and we'll try and get to those as soon as possible. Now, Shep, for your final thought today, I know you have some opinions about a player who hasn't really gotten the respect he deserves.
Ante Razov. This is a season in Major League Soccer where Jaime Moreno has gotten a lot of credit, justifiably so, 111 goals. That's terrific. But I'll tell you what, the best goal scorer in the history of Major League Soccer, I believe it's Ante Razov. He got number 109 stoppage time goal against Kansas City. Remember, he's not taking penalty kicks. I think Ante Razov has a lot more goals in him. More than that, the guy's a winner, he's a leader, and right now he's doing it again for Chivas.
Ante's certainly having a great season. He's got 11 goals on the season so far, and he has proven to be a leader on that Chivas team. We'll see what Chivas can do when they get into the playoffs, and we'll see which of those teams in the bubble get into the playoffs. Join us again for another edition of MLSnet.com's Extra Time. I'll be here, Shep will be here, and next week we'll take it around.